people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility.
Hey guys, welcome to United States History and Government. In the next 10 minutes, we're going to quickly take you through all of the major eras that are going to be on the Regents exam and probably most state exams at the 11th grade, 12th grade level for an American History and Government course. So we start off this course with the era of colonialism. Make sure you check your notes and watch other lectures. Get that under control. Reasons why the colonists are going to rebel against the King of England. Other lectures will teach you about Ike and Tina Turner, the concept of representation, and the lead up to the Declaration of Independence, the Dear John Dumpier you-know-what letter. Following colonialism, so that's kind of like era one, we walk into another era. 1 second. The Articles of Confederation, 1776, 1787. For that 10, 11, 12-year period, the United States was ruled under our first Constitution. Yes, we've had two, my friends. Not one, but two. And that would be the Articles of Confederation. And that document did not give the federal government enough control in order to really run a successful union. The states were given more power because of the fear of a central government. So that culminates in the event called Shays' Rebellion, which leads us into another period, the Constitution. 1 second. The United States Constitution. So colonialism, Articles of Confederation, and the big boy, the big mama, the head of it all, the rule book, the United States Constitution. Obviously we can't teach you that now, but do know that that is the rule book. That's where all of the power that's delegated to the federal government to Uncle Sam is given in the United States Constitution. Bill of Rights added to the Constitution, another big subject under that puppy, and we'll do those 10 amendments in another lecture. But make sure you get the United States Constitution and the Convention under control and learn why we wrote it, how we wrote it, and eventually how it's changed and evolved as United States history has pushed forward. Look at these big, strong men. These big, strong men, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, and John Marshall. Hi, John. These three men are the strong Federalists under the first early federal government. We can teach you that in another lecture, but that growth of the federal government, Washington's farewell, and Hamilton's bank, and Marshall's court decisions are big, and you need to get that. Let's see if we can walk you through so far. Colonialism, the Articles of Confederation, the United States Constitution, and now the early federal era. Let's keep moving on. 1 second. Hey, Tom. You finally got power. Revolution of 1800. Congratulations. The next section that we're going to talk about really quickly so you can get it under control is the Manifest Destiny era. This really is kind of 1800 to 1850s, 1860s. We have crossover. I'll explain that in a moment. But you should understand the reasons why the United States moved westward and the different episodes that occurred under that expansion. The Mexican War, the Louisiana Purchase, the Oregon Territory, the secession of Florida. There's lots of great stuff in there. So Manifest Destiny. Push, push, push. Sectionalism. The period of history where the United States was torn apart by sectional differences between the North and South. We're just going to say one thing. It's not all about slavery. It's about the expansion of slavery and the power invested in the federal government and the state's claim of state power under the 10th Amendment. What are you talking about, Mr. Hughes? Don't worry, we're going to teach you all that good stuff. But right now, we're going to move forward. Sectionalism, 1820 to 1860, and we all know what occurred in 1860. The election of Abraham Lincoln in the beginning of the Civil War. Let's keep going. The Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Major business going on there. Save the Union. That's Abe's mantra, and we'll talk about that during class. But we're going to find out why the Civil War occurred, what happened during the Civil War, and the effects of the Civil War under the era of Reconstruction. Where's that paper? Hold on. Reconstruction. Putting it back together. Let's keep going. And then the United States industrializes. We create a system of factories and big business that allows the United States economy to expand. That is the industrial age. Unfortunately, there's some bad stuff that goes on during the industrial age. So we want to make sure that we fix some of that stuff. You're going to learn about laissez-faire, how when we had lots of problems, look at all the problems. Oh my goodness. The federal government adopted laissez-faire and believed that it was best to leave big business alone. Guess what's next? Progressivism, the pushing forward of society and the expansion of the Constitution. We'll find out about progressivism at the turn of the century and how the United States began to reform itself. And then we move on. World War I. World War I occurred right as the edge of progressivism ended, and we entered Europe to begin World War I under Woodrow Wilson. We're going to find about why we entered World War I and what occurred after we left World War I. Following World War I, the United States entered the period Roaring Twenties. We're going to find out about how the United States adopted laissez-faire, big business and consumerism grew with the economy, only to come culminating in 1929 in the next era. And watch this. The Great Depression, Wall Street, 1929 crashes. And in the 1930s, the United States enters a new period called the New Deal and FDR. This period in the 1930s was a period of the expansion of the federal government and a larger role for them in creating a safety net for citizens. We're going to find out about the positives and the possible negatives of the New Deal. And then we move on. The New Deal technically ends when the United States enters the next era in our course, World War II. So we're going to discover why the United States entered Europe in World War II and the Asian theater with Japan, and the effects of that war in terms of what occurred afterwards, and really how we won. Atomic bomb and D-Day and big stuff in there, and then we move on. Following World War II, we're going to find out, you feel that? It's getting cold in here. How the Cold War occurred, and that really 30, 40-year super battle chess game between the United States and the Soviet Union is going to be a big deal in this course. The 1950s also has a domestic side, and we'll discuss suburbanism and McCarthyism and great things. But then we're going to move on to the 1960s. The 1960s and the 1970s, the period of change in Vietnam, the period of change in American society and culture. And we'll find out all about that in this course. We'll then march through the 1980s and the end of the Cold War, Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev, the falling of the Berlin Wall, and lots of other good and bad and ugly stuff. And then we will end the course as we enter the modern era, the 1990s, the election of 2000 and George Bush, 9/11, all of these events, and we'll even take you through the Obama presidency. So we're going to review really quick, but that's in a nutshell what this course is about. It's about how the United States has evolved and changed through the years and the major eras that have brought us from there to here. And hopefully we're going to go past the textbook and we're really going to explore people's lives and some fundamental ideas about government, society, politics, and how we fit into this puzzle.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is